Greetings. This is a brief video on the process of scheduling predefined canned reports in Eclipse. As I've mentioned before, Eclipse has several report tools, including a report writer mass load and a web-based report writer, and kind of each one of these has their own little way of and quirks for scheduling. This is just going to be the predefined reports that come with Eclipse. Each section in the system has a set of reports that pertain to it, like accounts payable. There's a report section, and here you have a variety of reports that could be done there, which can be run at will, or you can schedule them so that they run in the background if they're very lengthy ones. Entirely up to your choosing. When you schedule a report, most time it can be sent automatically to the printer, which I don't suggest because you're going to be printing a bunch of junk you may not have intended to. It can be sent in most cases emailed to you, but this shouldn't be done for very long reports. And I think the formatting it normally sends is either text or PDF, which might not be the best formatting for you to work with it if you need an Excel or something. And then the final, most recommended one is to have it sent to the hold file, where you can go ahead and pick it up and do what you want with it from there. And that's my general preferred one. The hold file, when the Phantom runs, it'll send you a message. If you're logged in, it'll pop up and tell you the report ran complete. If you're not logged in, it'll send you a message in the built-in messenger, which you will see that the report completed. Then you can go into your hold file, which of course in Solar they call it the report queue. From here you can either work in the report from within Eclipse, which depending on the report and the information gives you advantage of using the hyperlinks that are in the report to jump directly to items and transactions and do editing or viewing as needed, which is a pretty handy thing. Or quite often you could use the tools and download as either a CSV file or a text formatted file to import into Word or Excel and work with it a little bit more. So that's where it's going to go when it's scheduled and sent to the hold file. So we're going to do an example on a warehouse management variance report, but what I'm going to show here will work with the variety of reports that are in the system. So we're going to go to our main menu and warehouse management and reports, and to pick the adjustment variance report. All right. Now normally when you're running a one-at-a-time report, you're just running it for today's date or whatever date range that you run. If you're running a scheduled report, you're going to not want to put in exact dating, you're going to want to put in a date formula. Eclipse has its own special way of doing formulas. You can find it in the Eclipse manual, it's buried in there somewhere, and it can get incredibly complicated. But generally speaking, the type of formulas that you're going to work with normally are very dead simple. So like in this case, MODAYR, it means as of today. MO01YR is run it from the first of the month. MO31YR to the end of the month. This time last month, you get the idea. Fiscal beginning, fiscal ending. And there are a nearly infinite number of varieties of formulas you can do. You can get really, really creative. I suggest you not. The simpler the better. And generally these sets here are gonna work 90% of the time for what you're trying to do. Once again, when in doubt, read the Eclipse manual. I think I'm probably the only person on the planet that's ever actually read most of it. God's help me. Anyway, so using those formula examples, we're going to change the starting and ending dates here into a formula. So we want the start date for this report to be the first day of the month. Oops, it's all right. Fat fingered something. The first day of the month of the current year to right now when the report is run. So MODAYR. Okay, and in this case, we have the adjustment type. The only adjustments I'm concerned with are location adjustments. The only branch that I'm concerned with is branch 2 of our system. Okay, location adjustment. Leaving price line or byline blank means it's going to give me all price lines. Okay, we want a detail report of specific items that have been moved, so we're going to do a product detail, and only when there's a variance. Don't show me all the stuff that there's no variance, because nothing moved, because that would be silly. Alright, so this should be the generified report run that we need. Now we have to go ahead and schedule it. So if you go here into options and schedule, now we can go ahead and create the Phantom scheduler. Alright, you have the opportunity here of changing the default name of the report. You know, in some cases you might be running a report with several different variants and scheduled at several different times, and you don't want them all to have the same name. So you can adjust the title here a little bit so you can tell one variant of the report being run from another. Start time, it's gonna rerun that report at this time every time it goes to run. If that's okay, that's fine. In this case, I actually want it to run at 9 o'clock in the morning on Friday. So you entered the time in military time, so 0900, and that gives us 9 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time. Alright. Start date, we're going to start now because I wanted to run an example report as soon as I'm done with the schedule to make sure I did it right, and it's the report that I wanted in the format that I wanted. But after that first run, then it's going to reschedule according to the rest of the information. Expire date, I don't want this to run forever, so I'm going to set this to end at the end of the year, 12/31/2023. But I don't necessarily, I can have it run forever, but I find that generally you do that, you get your system clogged up with a bunch of reports that people have forgotten about years ago, and they're just eating a bunch of CPU time and slowing down the system. So I like everything to have a finite ending. You know, if it was that damned important, people will remember to schedule it again or adjust the schedule. In the eTerm, typically if you want the expiration date to be run forever, you do 12/31/9999. Typically, I've never seen anyone want to run a report every several minutes. Usually just, you know, once a week or, you know, a couple of days during the week. So we're going to reschedule it to run every Friday. So it's going to rerun it 9 a.m. every Friday, but it's going to run the first sample as soon as I'm done with this on 7/19. It's going to give you a little visual feedback here that it's scheduling it to run every Friday and to repeat. All right. This looks like we've got everything in here that we wanted, so we can go ahead and tell it OK. Okay, so that's the scheduler. Now it hasn't been submitted yet. That's just the schedule that we've told the system we wanted to adhere to. The final process is in this case, as I said, we want it to run to the hold file, not print, not email. So the final step to get this to submit is to select File and Hold. All right. So to confirm that the report actually got into the Phantom and it's doing what you want it to do, you can check the System Phantom Processor and see. And of course, we can see it's already sent me a little notice that it ran the first run. Let me just go into that and see if it looks like what I wanted. And yes, this looks fine. This is showing what I would expect to be location adjustments. The whole point of running this report is I want to make sure that if we move something and there are 180 in one place, that there's 180 in the destination and we didn't accidentally adjust the quantities and foul up the inventory when we didn't intend to. So Ideally, I should be seeing totals for byline 0, because we didn't actually physically change the physical quantities of the products. So anyway, so yeah, that report looks like how I wanted it. That's a good example. Now I want to go look in the Phantom to make sure that it was scheduled properly. And you would also go in here if at some point you want to change or extend the schedule. So we can go into Phantom Status. And I think by default it just shows the currently running reports today, which is annoying. Or system functions, background processes. So to hone down on what we want to see, you have to select Edit Schedule, even though we have no intention of editing it. In this case, I want to see just the reports and background processes that are running under my ID. IT-man, and then click on Update. And here we see our adjustment variance report, scheduled to next run at 7/21/2023 at 9 a.m. Very good, and that's the Eclipse Pick Basic report writer program that's running to generate that report. And as I said, you can edit and adjust the schedule of a particular run without disrupting it and having to delete it and resubmit it. If you no longer need a report anymore, the Phantom is a good place to go and delete that run to stop it. So that is the way that you schedule a canned report in Eclipse. Hopefully this is helpful. Thank you for your attention.